Let me tell you, I never thought I'd see the day a stranger would roll up in a luxury SUV, stride into my yard like she owned the joint, and demand dead serious that I hand over the keys to my house. Because according to her, she was the new owner. My name's Peter Ramirez. I'm 63, retired engineer. And I used to think I'd seen every flavor of nonsense this world could cook up until that morning. It was one of those perfect Saturdays on my 10-acre ranch, the kind you don't get enough of once you're older. Sun coming up gold over the fence, air sharp with cut grass. The old pickup parked crooked in the drive like always, and I'm out there with the hose humming, watering the flowers my late uncle planted decades ago. Then all at once, tires screeching, gravel flying, this silver SUV comes barreling down my private driveway like it's her name on the deed. Out steps a woman. White blazer, big sunglasses, attitude so thick you could shovel it. Marches straight toward me and says, "I'm Elena Rivera, HOA president and the rightful owner of this property. Hand over the keys now." Not a hello, not a nice day, just that. I almost choked. I mean, there's bold and then there's demanding keys from a stranger on his own land, bold. I blinked at her hose still running in my hand, waiting for a punchline. Maybe she was lost. Maybe she was pranking me. But her face, I'll never forget it. Tight little smile like someone who always gets their way. I took a breath, wiped my hands on my jeans and said, "Excuse me, you said you own my house." She didn't flinch, just pushed her sunglasses higher and declared, "That's correct. The closing was finalized this week. I'm here to take possession immediately." She said it like she was claiming a throne. I laughed honestly a little in shock. "Ma'am, I think you've made a mistake. This property hasn't been for sale, not in decades." Her lips went razor thin. "Don't play games. I have documents." She whipped out a folder. Real fancy leather, probably cost more than my whole wardrobe, and flashed a stack of paperwork. I saw my address right there at the top, but the rest fonts were wrong. Headers looked like a grade school project. If you've seen enough legal docs in your life, you know when one smells off. I stayed polite. "May I see those?" I asked. She hugged them to her chest like the Holy Grail. "You'll hand over the keys first, then we'll review them." HOA procedure. I couldn't help it. I let out a laugh. This house isn't part of any HOA. She stiffened. "I'm Elena Rivera, president of Green Valley Homeowners Association. This property is part of Green Valley now. The board voted to include it in the last expansion." "You voted to take my land?" I said, halfway between amusement and disbelief. "Annexation for aesthetic consistency," she replied, as if she was talking about redecorating a hotel lobby. My old brick house, the one my uncle built, stood out from the bland cookie-cutter homes beyond my fence. Gravel driveway, wooden mailbox, the works. I loved it. Now here was this woman claiming I was the one out of line. I kept my cool, but my pulse was pounding. "Miss Rivera, this land's been in my family for 40 years. I've got every document you'd ever want to see. Maybe you have the wrong address." She stepped closer, heels clicking on the stones like a judge passing sentence. "Not mistaken," she said. "The address is 4125 Willow Creek Drive." I nodded. "Then you're the squatter," she snapped. "You need to vacate immediately." I just stared. Was this real life? "You're serious?" I asked. "Do I look like I'm joking?" she barked. Frankly, yeah, she did. "If this is your idea of taking possession, you're about 3 steps away from getting yourself arrested." That did it. Her face went red, voice turning shrill. "I'm calling the authorities." She grabbed her phone, dialing with fingers shaking from rage. "You've trespassed on HOA property and refused a lawful order to surrender the premises." Now I couldn't stop laughing. "Call whoever you want, ma'am. Might want to call your lawyer, too." "You've been scammed." She froze mid-dial. "What did you just say?" "You've been scammed," I repeated a little softer. "Whoever sold you this land doesn't own it. I can show you the deed if you'll calm down." But she wasn't having it. She started filming me, narrating for her imaginary audience about the squatter's personal effects and damages to HOA property. She walked around the yard taking pictures of my truck mailbox, even the old windmill. muttering about violations of community code. "Lady, you're trespassing on private land," I called after her. "You might want to stop before this gets worse for you." Private. This is HOA jurisdiction now. Everything you see belongs to the Green Valley community, including that garden. She pointed at the vegetable patch I planted with my uncle. That was it. My patience cracked. "I'm going inside to get the paperwork." "Don't touch anything," I said. She smirked. "You can run, but this'll be reported as interference with lawful possession." I ignored her, locked my door behind me, and went straight to my safe. Pulled out every file, deed, tax record, a letter from the county, even old photos of me and my uncle. Real, notarized, airtight. When I got back outside, Elena was still pacing, phone pressed to her ear. I held up the documents. "Here's my proof. Deeds in my name, taxes are paid. You've been tricked." She didn't even look. "Those are forged," she spat. "My seller, Catherine Moore Realty, provided all legitimate documents. You'll be facing charges for fraud and trespassing." That name hit me. Catherine Moore. She retired last year, helped my uncle transfer the land to me. Whoever sold Elena this place had stolen Catherine's old credentials. "Elena," I said, "Catherine Moore doesn't work anymore. Whoever you dealt with wasn't her." For a second, she looked almost scared, then doubled down. "You're lying. I'm calling the police." And she did, right there, shouting about a man trespassing on my property. I sighed, called the sheriff myself. "I think I've got a case of mistaken property ownership," I told the dispatcher. "Might want to send someone before this woman gets herself into trouble." Soon enough, sirens rolled up the drive. 2 patrol cars, Lieutenant Daniel Brooks and Officer Megan Hill. Elena charged at them, waving her arms, yelling, "That man has broken into my property. He's threatening me." The officers handled it like pros. Megan took notes while Daniel checked my papers, flipped through everything, and nodded. "Everything checks out," he said quietly. Elena scoffed. "Those are fake. My realtor was Catherine Moore." Daniel glanced at me. I nodded. "Catherine Moore retired last year," I told them. Elena bristled. "You're trying to confuse me." Megan, bless her, asked for Elena's purchase docs. "They're at home," she said. Daniel closed my folder. "Based on the county record, Mr. Ramirez is the legal owner." Elena's face went white. "That's impossible. I paid for this place, my inheritance. This is mine." There was a crack in her voice, something almost human. Then the anger snapped back. Daniel kept his patience, told her if she didn't leave, she'd be trespassing. She pointed at me, yelling, "He's the trespasser. The HOA will take everything you've got." I stood up slow. "Ma'am, you need to calm down before you dig yourself a deeper hole." She lunged, grabbing at my folder. Daniel intercepted her, firm but gentle. "That's enough," he said, and Elena started screaming about corruption as she was led back to her SUV. The officers took my statement, scanned the documents, and promised to open a fraud investigation. "If she comes back, call us," Daniel said. "I have a feeling she won't let this go." I watched Elena's SUV disappear in a cloud of dust, and I knew he was right. Some people never back down, even when the facts stare them in the face. The next few days were a circus. Neighbors whispering, HOA sending fake violation notices, unauthorized structures remove immediately, all signed by Elena. I marched into their office, dumped my county documents on the table, and told her, "Save your ink. Keep this up. It's harassment." She smiled. "Then sue me." I leaned in. "Don't tempt me." Didn't take long for the cops to confirm Elena's realtor was fake. The payment vanished into an offshore account. The scam ring had hit other states. The FBI got involved. The county issued a protective order for my property, but Elena kept coming back. She brought HOA work crews, threatened more lawsuits, even hammered metal plates on my mailbox claiming HOA ownership. Each time the law stood firm: trespassing, harassment, destruction of property. One day, after a final meltdown, Elena was arrested and taken for a mental health evaluation. It could have ended there, but life doesn't always wrap things up with a bow. Weeks passed, the dust settled, the FBI froze some of the scam funds. Elena entered court-ordered therapy, and the new HOA president sent me a letter, an actual apology. A month later, I found a handwritten note under my doormat. Just 2 words, "I'm sorry." No signature, but I knew who it was from. I tucked it away not as evidence, but as a memory. And life went on. I fixed fences, hung up a new sign. Respect the line, and learned a little more about patience, about standing your ground, about how truth walks home, slow but sure. The world will always have its Elenas, its noise and chaos, and folks who can't see past their own pride. But sometimes the only thing you need to win is to hold steady. Let the storm pass and trust that truth will do the heavy lifting. So tell me, have you ever had to stand your ground against someone who just wouldn't see reason? What would you have done if you were in my boots? Drop your story down below. Let's hear about your line in the sand. And if you believe calm can outlast chaos, stick around, subscribe, because trust me, there's always another fence, another lesson waiting just around the corner.